buy radios that'll work if we are switching 800 megahertz. Okay? And that was all I had to say. I can't stay, I gotta go, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move ahead. Emergency Management Department, Jim Yarger. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of grant number EMC 2021 EP 00006, State of Michigan Fiscal Year 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant, American Rescue Plan Act, grant agreement, and authorize the board chair to sign the grant agreement.
Support.
That motion is made by Smelker, supported by Gibson. Discussion. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. I just received notice that they are released to Berry County $21,566 more towards the Emergency Management Performance Grant through the ARPA funds. So basically all the grant work's done. If we want the money, sign the grant agreement and send it to Lansing.
So this is just a continuation of current programs, and more money was added to the grant program from ARPA?
Yeah.
Okay.
This happens to be ARPA. In the past, they've done it. They always hold back money for other things they got going on, and then sometimes over the years they don't use it all, so they send it out again, or they turn it over to the counties to pay for their emergency management programs.
Questions or comments from commissioners?
Does this supplement the budget for your salary, the current budget, or was this already planned?
This is for fiscal year 2021. So in their terms, that's October 1st of 2020 to September 30th of 2021. This grant always follows behind the year we just went through. Does that answer your question?
It pays for your salary that's already been paid?
Yes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend that the Board of Commissioners approval of grant number EMC 2021 EP 00006, State of Michigan Fiscal Year 2021 Emergency Management Performance Grant, American Rescue Plan Act, grant agreement, and authorize the board chair to sign the grant agreement. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim. Next is from the County Administration Department. This time the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners permitting elected officials and department heads the flexibility to deviate from current policies applicable to non-represented employees regarding entrance salary rate, hospital medical insurance, and vacation leave to facilitate the recruitment and hiring of talent during this difficult labor market.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
That motion is made by Gibson, supported by Getty. Discussion. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Let me get that a little. Did it go off on me? Testing. There. Just get a little closer to me. Sorry. So yes, thank you. As we've tried to recruit, we've got some positions. We've been fortunate that we haven't had to recruit, particularly in areas that we're looking for experience, if you may. Haven't had to recruit in a number of years, but we're coming to that point as we've attempt to recruit for talent, particularly seasoned talent, skilled talent. We're finding it difficult with a few of our policies. One has to do with wages. We're not asking for the ability to go outside of our wage ranges. Currently our wage scale goes from a higher rate to 4 years, so it's a step process that over a 4-year period you move from an entrance salary up to the top of the scale. We're not looking to go outside of that. What we are asking for is the ability to go beyond the 1-year rate up to and including the 4-year, the top of the scale, upon hiring if needed based on experience and qualifications. Right now, our policies require that, and they are a bit dated, that that if a department head or elected official wants to go beyond that 1-year rate, they have to come back to the Personnel Committee and ask for permission. We don't have a personnel committee anymore. That would come directly to the Board of Commissioners or the Committee of the Whole effectively to do that. Again, for lack of a better term, expediency and efficiency through the process, we're asking for that to be able to be done at the department head and or elected official level. The other area that we're struggling with is our health insurance. Right now, when we hire somebody on, health insurance doesn't begin until after 60 days. Again, if we're looking at, or as we attempt to recruit and hire seasoned talent, most of these folks have families, are the provider for health insurance, and really struggle to have any level of disruption in that health insurance. We do permit an individual to purchase it. We will pay 25%. They have to pay 75% of the cost. But again, as we try to compete for talent with wages, and then right off the get-go, it's hit with a significant cost for health insurance, that's become a deterrent in recruiting. So I'm trying to think, let me pull this up if there was one other item that I had referenced.
Inez, you can come up if you'd like. This is
Good morning, Inez.
Vacation.
Thank you. The other area, thank you, Catherine, is vacation, and the issue that we have there is our vacation policy is that after the first year of employment, you then become eligible for 2 weeks, and we gradually progress up to a maximum of 4 weeks of vacation after 10 years. Again, many of these individuals that we're trying to recruit that are seasoned come from a job, a position where they have vacation, they have families, they're wanting to be able to continue to attend those family functions and value it. You know, I don't think you have to turn the TV or radio station very far to hear of a discussion about folks right now, the labor force wanting to be more involved in family life and that. So we're struggling with, and that would be the other areas, the flexibility to be able to credit some level of vacation as we recruit immediately, as opposed to them waiting and having nothing that first year and then having to spend 10 years of employment to get to where they might already be in their existing career. So
Let's talk some real world examples or hypotheticals. Can you give me an example of, sorry, I apologize. Can you give me an example of current policy versus proposed policy? What are we offering a potential employee now, and what you would like to offer in the future?
Well, I can attempt. We're recruiting for, as you know, an equalization director position right now. And we are in a labor market. We are surrounded by Kent County, Kalamazoo, and as we try to recruit, folks are, one, that's an area that has a very limited labor pool simply because of the certifications that are required. You can't think out of the box very far with that position and go to, for example, the private sector. Certainly there are private sector folks that have the assessing background and certifications, but I can't go into beyond that. It's just a very narrow labor pool, and then if we're looking for experience with equalization, that really limits us down to 83 counties. So it's a limited labor pool.
So we're looking at technical positions that need to be filled. We already are in a competitive labor market, so it makes it more difficult.
Oh, absolutely. The positions we're really talking about are at the department head level, and for lack of a better term, mid-management level. Inez, in the courts, we've had numerous conversations, and I think she continues to recruit for a vacant position in a deputy court administrator position, where she's had similar issues trying to recruit. So yeah, we're really talking about at this point that upper and mid management, those positions again that we're looking to try to bring in talent, trying to hire folks that are seasoned, if you may, and have experience.
So these concerns are not new. We faced it when we went through the comprehensive reclassification and salary adjustment system. So we're saying now that it's even more exacerbated?
Yeah, when we did the classification and compensation study, we took a big step in recognizing it, and not just recognizing, but putting compensation, if you may, into our wages relating to our geographic location, to our competitive labor market. What's really changed, I think, for us, two things. One, the tight job market that we have. It's just a difficult job market right now to recruit. And the other is we're getting to a point as an organization that we have a lot of mid and upper management that have a lot of years. You know, I'll use myself for example. I'm at 27 years in my career. When I came, we had a board. The board had a coordinator, but effectively I'm the first administrator. If we want to replace, and we have a number of department heads who are in that same situation, the position effectively didn't exist. We started it with some very talented college graduates who built those positions, those departments, and effectively the organization we have to where it's at. If we want to continue that and replace the talent that we have with the equivalent talent, we're going to have to look for seasoned employees, folks who have experience, folks that are in that early and mid part of their careers. But again, what that comes with is they have already built up a wage level, an expectation of vacation and some other things. So it's not that that necessarily they're expecting more. It's we just can't go backwards, if you may, or expect them to go backwards. We have a lot of things to offer. The other is that we, you know, while we have a quality of life to offer, we don't have the tax base that a Kent County, a Kalamazoo, a Calhoun does. We attempted to try to address that when we did the compensation and classification, but we acknowledged that we can't. And I don't think that that's necessarily our goal, is to be at 100% of where they are. Again, we don't have their tax base. But we can't be terribly far off either and expect folks to want to come, particularly if they're selling a house and moving a family here. It's a big step.
Open up to questions from commissioners. Start with Commissioner
Do we
Smell.
have any openings
Gibbs.
at this time for these positions?
The court currently has a deputy court administrator position that's been vacant for several months now. And we've had two waves of trying to, we posted it originally, only received 4 applicants.
Speak into the microphone, please.
We posted it originally, only received 4 applicants, interviewed, didn't have the level of experience that we were looking for and required based on the job description. And we reopened it, posted it again for a few more months, and we were able to identify a couple candidates out of there. One ended up, her compensation and time off was already more than what we could offer here. And the other is considering the position, but kind of pending the decision that's made here today.
Commissioner Smelker.
I would take it that if they are offered in the scale, that these applicants or new hires would have a lot smaller learning curve and kind of hit the ground running, right? Somewhat know their job.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is the whole intent, again, is when I say seasoned, are folks that are not at the beginning of their career, that have experience in this specific area that we're hiring for, and can, again, they're not going to have the 20 and 30 years that folks that are retiring will have, but will have significant experience to be able to take the position and run with it.
Commissioner Campbell.
I'd just like to say I know that in today's market, I think everybody's very well aware of the extreme difficulty in hiring in all levels of work out there. So in this level, when we're talking at the higher level, I think any tools that we can give towards our management that'll help us get the right people in the right positions, I think we should be all for that.
Commissioner Getty, do you have anything?
I don't have any questions that haven't already been asked. Thank you.
Okay. What's the financial or the fiscal impact of these adjustments?
You know,
I know you don't have a dollar amount,
it
but
varies depending on the position and ultimately where somebody were to be hired in. I'm confident that it may require a budget amendment in some instances. That being said, though, in many of our positions, the folks that are leaving are at the top of their scale. So in that case, we're not going above that, so it may not.
okay.
But I think the implications of not hiring qualified and quality and seasoned people is more significant than the financial implications that might come with a budget amendment. I absolutely am confident that I can manage the budget end of it with any decision that ends up being made. What my bigger concern is can the organization handle if we don't replace with highly qualified and seasoned folks. That's my bigger concern. The budget impact you feel immediately. It's kind of objective. You see it, and we can all kind of either take a deep breath or say okay about it. With people, you don't notice it right away often. It takes time, but if you don't get the right people, where you end up is looking back at some point saying, boy, what just happened? How did we kind of slip away? And again, we've just been very fortunate that we've had a lot of stability. I don't want to point at folks because I don't want to, for lack of a term, indicate that they're getting, anybody's particular is getting ready to retire. But as you look around our organization, there's a lot of talent that has been here for a number of years. And if we like and value where we're at, I think this is a step that's necessary to continue that without sliding backwards, if you may.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners permitting elected officials and department heads the flexibility to deviate from current policies applicable to non-represented employees regarding entrance salary rate, hospital medical insurance, and vacation leave to facilitate the recruitment and hiring of talent during this difficult labor market. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item from the Planning Department. This time the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Michigan Department of Agriculture Farmland and Open Space Preservation Program applications, more commonly known as PA 116, number 2108, for Mr. and Mrs. Joshua Chase in Section 6 of Castleton Township.
So moved.
Support.
All right. Thanks, guys. That motion is made by Smelker, supported by Gibson. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. So this was a request that came in Castleton Township. It's in East Coates Grove, right? So it's planned and zoned as agriculture. Chases own a lot of property out there. They just obtained this one recently and want to put this into their PA 116 programs. The Planning Commission recommended this unanimously.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we all know the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the Planning Department fee schedule changes that were included in the 2021-22 budget.
So moved.
Support.
Motion is made by Getty, supported by Gibson. What do we have here?
Yeah, so we put in a request to increase the fees for 4 line items of our fee schedule. Basic zoning permits would increase from $40 to $50. Special use or variance requests from $250 to $300. Site plan review from $200 to $250. And a rehearing fee up from $100 to $250. We don't have many of those, so it's a pretty low impact one. Quite frankly, as you're aware of, the cost of just conducting business is going up, advertising, mileage, and in the past, we've been able to, kind of accumulate or have a multiple request at a hearing, which would offset some of the costs of the per diems. Now the cases are becoming a little bit more complicated. The county is growing. Some of these are requiring more than one hearing or a tabling, which does add cost to it. And we just, in order to keep the department, kind of moving in the right direction, these minor adjustments will help offset the cost of living increases for the other items that we have no control over.
How do individuals pay this? Do they pay cash, check? Can they pay online?
Yeah,
Credit card?
Any of them. Yeah, so we do offer the credit card payment through that third-party service, so we get cash and check in the office.
Questions? Commissioner Getty?
The fee schedule seems very reasonable. I did a fee analysis last year in Thornapple Township, and these are right in line with others that I've seen.
And lower still, I think. In
And
most
lower,
cases.
yeah.
So we're not trying to, break the bank here. It's just minor adjustments to help keep the cost of running an office in place. So.
Great. Commissioner Smelker, you have anything?
No, I'm fine.
Commissioner Gibson?
I'm good.
Commissioner Campbell? This change was approved by the Planning Commission?
Well, it was put in as a budget amendment, so you have to approve it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not directed to the Planning Commission. But we did put it in the budget. I did include the page of the budget where those were suggested, and then when you approve the budget, I'll bring it to you, but it's already been kind
So,
of.
yeah, we've already approved it.
Yeah.
Hearing no further discussion, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approve the Planning Department fee schedule changes that were included in the 2021-22 budget. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Yeah, and they will go into effect January 1.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Next, from the Sheriff's Department. At this time, the chair to entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to purchase 40 portable radios for law enforcement personnel per the attached quote from Digicom Global Incorporated at a total cost of $87,714, including $10,000 for activation with funds to be paid from the Capital Replacement Fund.
So moved.
Or,
That motion is made by Gibson, supported by Smelker. Discussion. Good morning, Under Sheriff.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be here. The main reason we're doing this now, and I'm just going off this a little bit, our radios we have right now are supposed to last basically 9 to 10 years. 2023 would actually be the next time we would probably try to be replacing them. However, due to how the cost is and this deal, with some of them, the radio's going not so good, I figured it'd be a great time to try to save the county and the taxpayers $110,000 minimum. So this is the reason that we're bringing this forth right now. Portable radios for law enforcement personnel are beginning to exceed their operating life. A few of the radios have failed and others are failing. Some of the parts repair the radios are not available. Therefore, the Sheriff's Office is seeking approval for replacement of 35 radios and 5 spares, total of 40 radios, portable radios, which will include the new detective deputy position, and also Middleville is requesting to add another deputy up there that they want to add. So that would be also covering that new deputy. The best condition of all the old radios would be kept as spares used for the Marine Division as posse for large events. And we have that, and that's if we have a large dive event, we have where we're trying to do a recovery or the search for a rescue. We could have, we have other agencies, other sheriff's office coming in. We could give them one of those radios so they could have communication with us, unlike right now they don't. And I can give other examples if needed. Due to the time constraints, the request for the proposal was not issued, but 3 quotes were obtained. We are requesting approval of the quote from Digicom Global, Inc. for $77,714 for the radios and $10,000, $250 per radio for the one-time activation fee for the state, total of $87,714. Based on the information we received from the 3 quotes and extra perks from the Digicom Global, Inc., they're providing longer lasting batteries, the 4100 megahertz versus the 3400, which is normally come on. These are, if you look at the other quote Tim sent me with it, says right now they're going to replace the 3400 megahertz lithium ion batteries with a 4100 because the 3400s are not available, but this is actually a lithium polymer battery for the same price, which will also give us about 200 more extra charges and a longer lasting battery. That was from the email that he also sent afterwards, which is a big improvement for us, as well as a 5.5-year warranty versus a 3-year warranty that Motorola would give us, in which we have to pay extra for. We could go down to 1 year for 0 extra cost with Motorola, including a 12-unit charger for the office, as well as overall better price itself. The Digital Global quote would be the best radio deal for the money. Basically, we're asking for the capital replacement, and the amount requested was $87,714, which includes the $10,000 per radio for the radios to be activated. The price, in additional information, we do have the quotes attached, as well as the price through Digicom will only be available through December 31st, 2021, or until their radios are sold before that, which then would go up to approximately $3,500. Motorola Solutions through Crouch Communications, which we have been through for several years. The hard part is we're really paying for the M. And unfortunately, the Kenwood radios that we're looking at are exactly the same, except they also are waterproof up to 2 meters, unlike the APX 2000 or 6000s that we have right now. And the ones we have right now have a 2900 megahertz battery, lithium ion, versus the 41 lithium polymer battery. And they're based on what Mr. Yoder told me, and speaking to him on the phone, they said that minimum Motorola is going to jump their prices up to 6.5% minimum in January. So if you do look at the portable quote comparisons, it basically is showing with the My Deal, it's still $89,000, and it's still cost over what would cost $1,798 over what Digicom would give us, as well as would not give us the perks with the batteries, as well as the 12-unit station for at the office. On that note, we're requesting the $87,714 to purchase these radios.
Undersheriff. Thank you, Undersheriff. So you put in your request that a few of the radios have failed and others are failing. You've been in law enforcement a long time. Why do radios fail, and what does that mean to the people that are on the front lines?
Well, obviously, if you're not in your car, you don't have communications, or you don't hear communications coming. If you need emergency activation at that time, we also have buttons on there that we can hopefully get to and push and hold down. But if you don't have communications with other officers or central dispatch, then it's a huge huge issue with health and safety for all of us. And you know, we used to go down here and use the call box, and, you know, and they didn't carry radios, but without the radios, especially in a county situation versus a city, at least you know, you're going to be 20 to 30 minutes away. And if you need to step it up, then we have to step it up, unfortunately. But so the radios are very important for health and safety for everybody, including the victims or the suspects, as well as the enforcement officers.
Commissioner Smelker.
I take it we have Motorola now?
We do have Motorola. We've had Motorola forever.
Does any other counties around you know of have Digicom?
Yes. Well, Kenwood.
Kenwood,
Digicom's
yeah.
the thing. Kenwood, yes. I spoke with Antrim County. I spoke with Manistee. I spoke with the other sheriffs that have. There's 5 or 6 that do. Several of the fire departments also carry them. But these are the 6000s, which are equally comparable to the APX 6000s we have right now.
So hold on just a second, just to make sure I understand this right. Digicom is Kenwood?
Kenwood
It's a
Radio.
Kenwood
yes.
radio, portable radio. Digicom's, they're just like Crouch
All right,
is
that's what I thought.
the Motorola aspect. So here's, I spoke with the sheriff yesterday, and last week I spoke with a couple undersheriffs and a sergeant. They said that everything works just as well as the others. They do have a little bit of lag time when they first turn them on, but you can put them on standby mode, which will last for 2 hours, and they haven't had any issues. And the one I talked to yesterday actually have had theirs for 2 years.
2 years?
Yes. And Tim is actually added because it's normally a 3-year warranty, but he added 3 more years, but he purchased these radios in July to get the best deal for them, and that's the reason they're actually so much lower than the $3,500 average price, and also had the 6-year warranty included, but by the time we'd get them, you'd only have 5.5 years left on them.
Do you see any problem, you know, in your line of work? There's something going to happen to them. They're going to get dropped or something. Do you see any trouble of getting them repaired?
I asked the same question because Kevin Yoder would stop by and just pick it up and take it in and get it, fixed and then send it back to us. They would just send us a return self-addressed prepaid, and we'd put it in a box, send it to them. They'd have it for within 1 to 2 weeks and get it back to us. But that's also why you have spares, just in case something happens. But these are waterproof up to 2 meters, unlike the Motorola APX 6000s that we have right now. They're not waterproof at all. They're also not encrypted unless you pay the extra. These can be encrypted. They're encrypted. However, our central dispatch does not have an encryption base at this time, but if it does happen in the future, we could still use it, which means basically people out and just an average citizen can't go and plug it in and actually listen to the radio communications unless they have that special.
And these will handle 800 megahertz, right?
They are 800 megahertz, yes. They're exactly the same. Yes.
Real quick, while we're on the topic, what's the difference between these radios and 800 megahertz?
They are 800 megahertz.
They are.
They are.
They all, yes.
So was the Motorola's we had.
What's the big deal about 800 megahertz?
That's what our towers are, and that's
What the
central
towers are
dispatch
for.
uses. Yes, we,
And that's what the new towers will make 800 better,
Okay.
because,
I don't mean to interrupt, but when we get more towers here, hopefully, that we do need more towers, not just for law enforcement, and obviously we only have 1 tower here, and Stephanie's already working on trying to do that, take care of that also, but the more we get, the better off and the communications will be for everyone.
and we send our deputies out now with just 1 in a car. So the only help they got is their radio, and it better work.
Don't they have a radio on them?
Yes, that's the
That's the
portables.
Motorola's
That's what we're
that
finding.
are basically 9 years old now.
So they just have 2 receivers or 2?
We have a mobile radio in the car, and then we also have a portable radio that we carry on us.
Okay, so that's 2.
That's 2. You don't take the mobile out of the car.
Right.
But your handheld one is the one that goes in the house with you. And that's the one that has to work. Been in fires where some of them don't work. Not the most pleasant thing in the world.
No. You have anything, Bruce?
I just like to say, anytime we're spending $89,000 or approving it. It's always a question for us, but I think it's a bigger question when we're dealing with safety of our officers, which rolls down into safety of our citizens and stuff. So it looks like we've done some pretty good homework, and the price is right. So I'm for this.
Boot, do you have any?
I have no questions.
Catherine?
I echo Bruce's comment. Being a new commissioner, I'm wondering about the budget implication and where this comes from and how much is in that account.
So this request is proposed to come from the Capital Improvement Fund, which is one of our internal service funds. When we do have a budget surplus, the money goes into that fund and other funds such as building rehabilitation and diverted felons and vehicles. That fund probably has what, Michael?
587,000.
587,000.
I think black vests come out of that fund.
And yeah, and replacement for bulletproof vests. Now, I'm kind of relying on you, Commissioner Smelker. You sit on the 911 Technical Advisory Committee and in the 911 Committee, and you have a lot of experience in this type of issue. Are you comfortable moving forward with this?
I am. I've been most of my career carrying one of them. I always carried a Motorola, but I have confidence in Jason that he's checked with the other counties, and I'd kind of like to see a little longer than 2 years, but if they're under warranty.
Yes, and I also had 2 sergeants as well as my lieutenant take a look at them when he came and presented it, because I actually met him at the conference, and the whole thing is, and basically it's just like if you buy a brand name clothing or not so brand name clothing, you're paying more for the name. But they're both highly respectable radios based on everything that I've looked into. And I did talk to 5 other counties itself. So.
Great, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to purchase 40 portable radios for law enforcement personnel per the attached quote from Digicom Global Incorporated at a total cost of $87,714, including $10,000 for activation, with funds to be paid from the Capital Replacement Fund. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next, we have a request from the Deputy County Administrator. At this time, the Chair to entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to appoint City Manager Sarah Moyer Kale to serve on the Berry County Solid Waste Oversight Committee in the position representing the City of Hastings for a 3-year term that began on November 1st, 2021 and expires on October 31st, 2024, as approved by the Hastings City Council on October 25th, 2021.
So moved.
Support.
That motion is made by Getty, supported by Smelker. Discussion? Michael?
Thank you. Yeah, so in accordance with the agenda request form, there are 6 positions on the Solid Waste Oversight Committee with designated areas of representation, including a position representing the City of Hastings. So this term is, the term, pardon me, for this position expired at the end of October of 21. And at the October 25th meeting of the City Council, they appointed City Manager Sarah Moyer Kale to the position. So this would be a ratification or confirmation by the Board of Commissioners to appoint Sarah Moyer Kale to serve on the Solid Waste Oversight Committee in the position representing the City of Hastings.
Questions or comments from commissioners? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to appoint City Manager Sarah Moyer Kale to serve on the Berry County Solid Waste Oversight Committee in the position representing the City of Hastings for a 3-year term that began on November 1st, 2021, expires on October 31st, 2024, as approved by the Hastings City Council on October 25th, 2021. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend approval of the attached administrative services agreement between Berry County and VeriPro of Grand Rapids, Michigan, effective January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022 for short-term disability administration, and authorize the county administrator to sign it.
So moved.
Support.
The motion is made by Gibson, supported by Smelker. Discussion?
Sure, thank you. This is a renewal of our agreement with VeriPro to provide third-party administration of our disability. It's considered, I guess, a long-term disability program, although it is limited to 1 year. So we are self-funded for disability, which means that we pay the actual claim costs ourselves out of our funds. I should rephrase that. We pay out of our own funds. We are not fully insured for it. What VeriPro does for us, however, is administers the program. So when we have a claim that's filed, they review it, they advise us on that claim, make sure that all the necessary information is there, and that it should in fact be paid, and then we process that payment.
Questions or comments from commissioners?
Just comment, pardon me, one more comment to Luella's credit. The price has remained the same. It did not change from last year to this year. Got a bird's nest up there. Must be in the outside. So I can tell you it's not a bat. I've heard enough bats around here over the years, so it's not a bat. It is a bird. But so the pricing of $225 per employee per month remains the same. Sorry.
Great. If there's no further discussion, the question before the committee is to recommend approval of the attached administrative services agreement between Berry County and VeriPro of Grand Rapids, Michigan, effective January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022 for short-term disability administration, and authorize the county administrator to sign it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Finally, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the agreement for economic development service between Berry County and the Berry County Chamber and Economic Development Alliance for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Support.
That motion is made by Getty, supported by Smelker. Discussion?
Sure, thank you. This is a renewal of our agreement for economic development services, and it is with the Berry County Chamber and Economic Development Alliance. As indicated in the agenda request form, they have been providing this service since 2008, and I don't know that I need to go into detail about the services that they provide, their reputation, if you may, and brand, if you may. Very involved right now in our ARPA process. Jennifer Heinzman, the current president of the Chamber and Economic Alliance, would have been here. She does have another meeting, and I indicated that I'd be happy to handle this, and if there were any questions, I'd let her know, and those could be addressed at the board meeting. But again, I think you all know Jennifer and the list of things that she is involved in, so she had to make a choice. So please don't mistake her not being here for as any indication of the importance of it. The amount of the agreement is $140,585. That's what was budgeted for 2022. So I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that might exist.
Appreciate that there is measurable external goals associated with this agreement in business expansion, business attraction, workforce development, municipal capacity building, residential development, entrepreneurial development support, infrastructure, and public relations and advocacy. So you can see all of those goals on the last page of this packet. Questions or comments from commissioners?
My comment is that this is an investment in our county, of which we really reap quite a reward for this $140,000 investment.
I agree with Catherine.
Hearing no further discussion, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the agreement for economic development services between Berry County and the Berry County Chamber and Economic Development Alliance for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Larry Bass, Carlton Township. I wasn't going to speak today, but I didn't read the package, so I guess I got caught a little unawares. Referring to the proposal to increase the benefits and what have you for the managers and stuff, I'm not opposed to that. One of the things I've always looked at when I was looking for jobs, the total compensation package. The total compensation package includes salary, insurance, and vacation. I'd like to know, before I can support this, for whatever that's worth, what adjoining counties do, just for, you know, ballpark figure. You know, do they all have roughly the same package that we're going to now offer or not, or potentially offer? A number of times I changed positions or jobs when I had 10 years or over of experience on the job I left. One of the things I always did is I negotiated that total package, vacation, when I could get insurance and stuff like that. And so I see no reason, because this is a government position, that there may be different. In the private sector, you can do that. You can negotiate your the vacation you get. I always started with 2 years, you know, immediately, and then 5 years after 1 year of service, and then it progressed up to 10, 15, whatever. I'd also like to say I see no reason why they can't have, and this is, I'm not very fiscally responsible when I state this, but these are higher energy jobs we're talking about, correct? I see no reason why the top shouldn't be, maybe look at 5 weeks vacation at the top end. As Michael's position, he's got 27 years. I see no reason why he should be eligible for 5 weeks vacation. I would like to see a rough order of magnitude that would be non-binding on what the cost of these recommendations would be. You know, just pick a ballpark figure. Say if people come in with 15 years, you know, what have you. Just to give an idea of how much money we're potentially talking. And like I said, it'd be non-binding, but I think you guys should be able to look at that and help you make your decision next week. I apologize, I can't read my own writing again. That's about it. Thank you very much. But I would like you to think about these things because, you know, it's important, and I think employees, especially the management positions, they should be treasured, and they should be compensated accordingly to the job. So I think this is a big step in the right direction, no matter which way we go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there further public comment? Hearing none, we have reached the end of our agenda. If there's no objection, the committee will now adjourn.